In the first 6 months of 2025, China imported over 28 million ounces of refined silver, nearly double the amount it brought in during the same period in 2022. Yet, if you check the official balance sheet of the People's Bank of China, you'll find no mention of silver reserves. There's no line item, no footnote, no public disclosure. That's because China doesn't report its silver holdings like it does gold. Instead, it builds its strategic buffer through a network of state-owned enterprises, national refineries, and sovereign wealth vehicles, all operating under layers of bureaucratic opacity. This isn't evasion. It's strategy. By controlling both the refining and stockpiling of silver outside traditional central bank channels, Beijing ensures access to a critical industrial metal that powers everything from solar panels to electric vehicles, while keeping its hand hidden from global markets. And as the world races toward clean energy, this quiet accumulation could give China a decisive edge in the industries that will define the 21st century. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly how China's silver reserve system works, why it's structured this way, what data reveals its true scale, and why this hidden stockpile matters far beyond commodity trading for global supply chains, energy security, and even geopolitical leverage. To grasp China's approach, we must first recognize a fundamental truth in Beijing's view. Silver is not just a precious metal, it's a strategic industrial input. Unlike Western central banks, which treat silver as a historical relic or speculative asset, China sees it as essential infrastructure. A single gigawatt of solar capacity requires roughly 7.5 million ounces of silver for photovoltaic cells. China installed over 260 gigawatts of new solar in 2024 alone, more than the rest of the world combined, consuming an estimated 195 million ounces of silver. That's nearly 20% of total global supply. But here's the catch. China doesn't just use silver, it controls the pipeline. It refines almost 30% of the world's newly mined silver and over 40% of recycled silver, according to the Silver Institute and U.S. Geological Survey. This dominance isn't accidental. It's the result of 2 decades of deliberate policy, subsidizing non-ferrous metal smelters, consolidating small refineries into national champions like Jiangxi Copper and Zijin Mining, and integrating silver recovery into its vast e-waste processing network. The output: a steady, state-influenced flow of high-purity silver that can be directed toward domestic industry or stored, without ever appearing on international balance sheets. So where is this hidden reserve kept? Not in vaults under the People's Bank of China, but in secure facilities managed by 3 key entities. First, the State Administration of Foreign Exchange, SAFE, which oversees China's $3.2 trillion in foreign reserves, also manages a strategic commodities portfolio that includes metals like copper, cobalt, and, increasingly, silver. While SAFE doesn't publish details, shipping manifests and customs data show consistent inflows of 1,000-ounce bars from Switzerland, Mexico, and Australia labeled government use. Second, the China National Gold Group Corporation, despite its name, handles significant silver inventories as part of its mandate to secure critical minerals. Third, and most importantly, state-owned refineries themselves act as de facto reserve depots. Companies like Yunnan Copper and Day Non-Ferrous routinely hold months' worth of refined output in on-site vaults, metal that is technically inventory but functionally reserved for national priority sectors. This decentralized model avoids the transparency requirements of central bank reporting while maintaining operational flexibility. If solar demand spikes, silver flows to Longi or Jinko Solar. If export controls tighten, it stays locked away. The system is resilient, opaque, and highly effective. How large is this hidden stockpile? Precise figures are classified, but cross-referencing multiple data streams offers clues. Chinese customs records show that between 2020 and 2025, net imports of refined silver totaled over 180 million ounces. Domestic mine production added another 120 million ounces. Yet industrial consumption, while massive, doesn't fully account for this supply. The International Energy Agency estimates China used about 250 million ounces for solar, EVs, and electronics during that period. That leaves a gap of at least 50 million ounces unaccounted for, metal that likely sits in strategic storage. Satellite imagery analyzed by research firms like Earthrise Intelligence shows expanded warehouse complexes near major refineries in Jiangxi and Yunnan provinces, with reinforced security and rail spurs suggesting bulk metal handling. Meanwhile, China's exports of refined silver have declined steadily since 2023, even as production rose, another sign that more metal is being retained domestically. In early 2025, the Ministry of Commerce introduced enhanced review procedures for silver exports, requiring detailed end-user declarations and causing weeks-long delays. This administrative friction functions as a soft export control, prioritizing internal needs without triggering formal trade disputes. Why go to such lengths to hide silver reserves? The answer lies in lessons from recent history. When Western nations froze $300 billion of Russia's foreign reserves in 2022, Beijing took note. Financial assets held abroad, especially in dollars, can be weaponized. Physical commodities stored on home soil cannot. Silver, unlike U.S. treasuries, can't be digitally blocked. It can't be devalued by Federal Reserve policy. And crucially, it can't be disconnected from the real economy. In a world of fragmented supply chains and escalating tech competition, control over physical inputs becomes a form of sovereignty. For China, which aims to dominate clean energy manufacturing, securing silver isn't optional, it's existential. Over 80% of the world's solar panels are made in China. Those panels require silver paste, which requires refined silver. Any disruption, whether from export bans, shipping blockades, or price spikes, could cripple this strategic industry. By building a hidden buffer, China insulates itself from such risks. It's not hoarding for speculation. It's stockpiling for resilience. This strategy also gives China leverage in global markets. Because it controls so much refining capacity, it can influence the availability of deliverable silver worldwide. In 2024, when European solar manufacturers faced delays in silver paste deliveries, the bottleneck traced back to Chinese refineries prioritizing domestic orders. No official ban was issued, just slower approvals, tighter documentation, and preferential allocation. This soft power allows Beijing to support its industries without violating WTO rules. Moreover, by keeping its reserve size ambiguous, China prevents markets from pricing in scarcity too early. If the world knew China held 100 million plus ounces in reserve, silver prices would surge, benefiting speculators but hurting Chinese manufacturers. Secrecy maintains cost stability at home while allowing strategic flexibility abroad. The contrast with the West is stark. The United States has no official silver reserve. The Defense National Stockpile holds some, but less than 10 million ounces, down from over 100 million in the 1970s. Europe has no coordinated silver stockpile at all. Both rely on open markets and just-in-time supply chains, assuming that liquidity will always cover need. But as the 2021 to 2022 semiconductor shortage showed, that assumption is fragile. Silver may not be as headline-grabbing as chips, but its role in energy transition makes it equally critical. The U.S. Department of Energy now lists silver as a critical material, and the Defense Production Act has been invoked to fund domestic refining, but scaling will take years. Meanwhile, China's system is already operational, integrated, and expanding. What does this mean for the future? 3 scenarios are emerging. First, if global silver demand continues to grow, driven by solar, EVs, and AI hardware, China's hidden reserve could become a bargaining chip in trade negotiations or a shield during crises. Second, if geopolitical tensions escalate, Beijing might formalize its stockpile, listing silver alongside gold in official reports to signal strength. Third, and most likely, the current model will persist: quiet accumulation, decentralized storage, and strategic deployment only when necessary. This isn't about preparing for war. It's about ensuring continuity in an uncertain world. For ordinary people, this hidden stockpile matters because it shapes the cost and availability of clean energy. If China restricts silver flows, solar panel prices could rise globally, slowing the energy transition. If it floods the market during a crisis, it could stabilize prices, but only for allies. Either way, the era of silver as a freely traded commodity is ending. It's becoming a strategic asset, managed not by traders, but by states that China's silver strategy isn't secret because it's sinister, it's secret because it's smart. And in a world where resources determine resilience, understanding who controls what and how is no longer optional if you want to see how global systems really work beyond headlines and speculation. We deliver deep, fact-based analysis of the forces shaping your financial and technological future with zero hype and full transparency. Because in the 21st century, knowledge of supply chains is power.